Greetings, members of the Board of Ethics. The first item of business for this meeting, which I'll just kick off because there's no actual chair yet, is to appoint a temporary chair. I don't know if someone would like to make a motion to do that for the purposes of this meeting.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jason Marks as the temporary chair.
Second.
Mr. Watson, I think since you're pro tem, can you ask for a vote to be called?
Yes. Mr. Rocha, can you call the roll?
Yes. Member Caffrey?
Yes.
Member Martinez?
Yes.
Member Cuniff?
Yes.
Member Colley?
Yes.
Member Marks?
Aye.
Oh, yes. That is a do pass.
Yes. So as the chair for this meeting, I call the meeting to order, and before we go to the agenda, I see not a new face to me, but I think it's to the Zoom. Jim Colley, apparently you've been appointed to join this august body, and I am very happy to welcome you. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Colley has been involved in civic and community matters for probably his entire life, but certainly the 15 years I've known him, and brings great energy and spirit, and so I welcome him to our board. Do you want to say anything, Jim?
No, just thanks for the welcome. I appreciate being here. I look forward to it. I don't mean that sarcastically. I look forward to meeting you all and knowing what the business is about.
Wonderful. Is there anybody who has any changes to our agenda? If not, the chair would request a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Please call the roll, Mr. Rocha.
Member Caffrey?
Yes.
Member Martinez?
Yes.
Member Cuniff?
Yes.
Member Colley?
I suspect I shouldn't vote because I wasn't in that meeting.
Oh, it's true. Sorry. Member Marks?
Yes. Okay. So the agenda is approved. The minutes, are there any proposals to changes to the minutes? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Member Caffrey?
Yes.
Member Martinez?
Yes.
Member Cuniff?
Yes.
And
That was me, yes.
would Member Colley vote on the minutes for the last meeting?
Probably not. He could have voted on the agenda, but
That's
probably
right.
should vote on the minutes.
Okay.
Well, we'll force him to vote on the tough ones. He's using his buys up on these.
And Member Marks?
Yes. Right. So we're now on to the only business that we have on our agenda, which is a discussion of waiving the 30-day rule for an evidentiary hearing on complaint 03-2023 Esdale versus Basan. Is this Mr. Watson? Are you familiar with this Is there a motion before us to waive the rule?
Yeah, and I can explain the background if someone would like to
Please.
make a motion. So after a complaint has been received by the clerk's office alleging a violation of the code of ethics, it was referred to the board earlier this month. But given the holidays and there is currently the voluntary compliance discussions ongoing, it wasn't possible to schedule the evidentiary hearing at today's meeting. And then the board's next meeting is after 30 days, is beyond 30 days following referral to the board. The specific rule that's at issue is under section 4, subsection 6. It says, upon referring a complaint to the board, the city clerk also shall do the following: set the complaint for an evidentiary hearing by the board to be held within 30 days of the referral to the board. The board may extend this deadline only upon a showing of good cause. So based on the holidays, the board's meeting schedule, and the parties' potential voluntary compliance / mediation discussions, the clerk's office's position is that there is good cause to extend the deadline and schedule this for a merits hearing on December 8th.
What's the date that it was referred?
I worried you were going to ask that. I don't. I apologize. I don't have that in front of me, but let me pull it up. I apologize.
And that, because that's what started the 30-day clock that we're
Correct.
not able to meet.
I can pull it. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
This was referred to the board on November 2nd.
So we would be roughly a week outside the 30 days.
Correct.
What's the party's position on delaying this for a week?
Councilor Bassan didn't oppose it, and I actually apologize, but I did not have time to speak with Mr. Eastdale, but I am meeting with both about this issue, but I am meeting with both of them this afternoon about the voluntary compliance. So I apologize for not having that information for the board. That was an error on my part.
Is there any reason to think that either of the parties would experience prejudice by a delay?
I don't believe so. I mean, I think there is value in exploring voluntary compliance, and I also think that to the extent I don't actually think the parties could have adequately prepared between the 2nd and the 17th in any event. And they're like, had I not made this motion based on the parties' voluntary compliance discussions, or had I not brought this before the board, the parties would be here based on the need to gather information to present their cases anyways.
And the election has occurred, so we don't have that as a deadline. We don't have to get this done before the election, since the election happened.
Correct, and this is not the subject of a run. There's no runoff in this district either. Not that I don't know if that necessarily matters, but it is over.
Okay. Well, the 30-day time limit is, it is potentially connected to the, need to resolve questions like this as soon as possible. I think there is a heightened need when there's an election pending that it could pertain to. The public and the parties are entitled to a speedy resolution, but 6 days doesn't seem like it's materially impacts that value. I think Mr. E sounds to me like Mr. Clark Watson is correct in his assessment, but I would note that we could, I guess it would theoretically possible to do this on the 1st of December. I have a conflict that day and get me out of it, the hearing, but it'll be so. If it's for me to participate, the 8th is a better day for me too.
And I will note that Mr. Peck and Mr. Rocha will all actually also be out of the office that day at the Council on Government Ethics Laws annual meeting in Kansas City. So we're trying to stay abreast of the trends.
Are there any members who have a conflict with the 8th?
I do.
Oh.
I have I have to execute a subpoena on the 8th.
Oh,
Is there any, there had been discussion of having a potentially in-person meeting. I don't know if that's of interest, but
for the hearing?
yeah.
I think that would definitely be of interest. When we did the hearings last time, we did them in person, and it would have been extremely awkward to do them Zoom.
I think if it is a hearing, I think they have to be in person. If I recall from what my predecessor told me.
That sounds plausible, but I think we need to do it in person. Are we going to have the chair back on the 8th?
I believe so.
Yes, I believe we will. I think the only other member that will be out is member Selvin.
Oh,
Assuming that we still will have a hearing if the mediation efforts are not successful.
yeah. Well, I sure would like to have a member kind of available, but I think we just do it. I would, if there's no objection, we set this for December 8th on in person in the chambers.
So right now, would we just need a motion to waive the requirement that a hearing be held within 30 days of the referral?
I prefer that the motion also includes setting a date certain for it. So both.
So members, I apologize. I just reviewed my calendar. I do have a conflict on the 8th.
Okay. And let's,
Would the board like to do it on the 15th or?
yeah.
I also have a conflict on the 15th. I'm sorry.
We'll do,
The 8th might be more workable for me depending on when we schedule it, but the 15th, I'm just going to be completely out of pocket.
Would it help you on the 15th if we did it in the afternoon?
In the 15th, I'm going to be in Texas for a family reunion, so I will just be completely unavailable that day.
I mean, excuse me, the 8th.
Yeah, the 8th. I think that the morning actually might be more workable for me, but it would need to be early.
Okay, so we can afford to.
Members, in the interest of conserving everyone's time, I would just like to put out that I could touch base with the parties today and also confirm their availability on the 8th. I did discuss this a little bit with them and it sounded like it would work, but it might make sense to just do a motion extending the day rule, and then I could circulate some scheduling, or Mr. Rocha could circulate scheduling with the parties and the board, and we can work that out later.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked to have given some certainty, but and I think it would be my preference that if we can't do it on the 8th or the 15th, that we just do it a day different. That's not a Friday. And we try and Mr. Rocha just surveys us for availability in the parties. It sounds like this case may actually settle, but if it doesn't,
So I guess I will move that the board waives its requirement to hold a hearing within 30 days after a referral of a complaint.
Second.
please call the roll.
Member Caffrey,
Yes.
Member Martinez,
Yes.
Member Cuniff,
Yes.
Member Colley,
Yes.
and Chair Marks.
Yes.
We have a do pass.
And I think we have no other business, but someone remind me, if we're going to a hearing, we will get the complaint and the answer in advance. Is that correct?
That is correct. We will circulate the relevant materials.
Is there more than a complaint and an answer that we'll have?
Let me work with the parties on an appropriate, sometimes the parties do circulate witness lists, which has been sometimes useful.
For sure, witness list, if we're having a hearing, we need to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I could bring just one other matter to the board's attention in terms of other business.
Please.
The clerk's office has requested an audit of a campaign. The campaign was not opposed to it. This is the campaign of Abel Otero. He sort of withdrew from the race shortly before the election. In the course of that, his campaign staff changed. There appears to be a dispute between his current and former campaign staff regarding various matters. We don't have any opinion at this point as of the various positions of the parties, but we've requested our internal auditor conduct an audit pursuant to our authority under the charter. There may be other matters that need to come from this from the board's perspective, but as of this time, I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention.
Thank you. Any other business? Hearing none. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I will move to adjourn. I second Mr. Cuniff's motion.
And we call the roll.
Member Caffrey,
Yes.
Member Martinez,
Yes.
Member Cuniff,
Yes.
Member Colley,
Yes.
and Chair Marks.
Yes. Thank you. We'll see you live and in person in a few weeks.
Thank you, everybody.
Or maybe not. If there is no hearing, Mr. Watson, do you know of any reason, or any of the city staff, do you know any reason why we would need to have a meeting before the end of the year if there's no hearing?
I don't believe there would be a need for a meeting if this matter resolves. Because I also don't anticipate the audit that we've requested will be completed by that time. So, if we don't need to meet in December, we can just cancel that.
Well, thank you. Everyone have a good Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanks, Jason.
And more holidays if we get lucky. Thank you.